I'm Chef Mark Charbel. Welcome to Check Please Arizona, the show where Valley residents recommend their favorite restaurants. Coming up, we have 3 guests who are passionate about their picks. They've dined at all 3 and are ready to share their reviews with each other and with you right here on Check Please Arizona. Yes, we can do it. I'm Chef Mark Charbel. Welcome to Check Please Arizona. In this episode, we're enjoying an East Coast diner, Chihuahuan flavors, and regional American cuisine. Let's meet our diners. Steve Semken is a geology professor at ASU. He loves to cook, hike, and travel, and he's a die-hard ASU football fan. Brett Gitskin is an engineer. He and his wife have 3 kids and a grandbaby. His true passion is barbecue. He loves to compete and judge contests. But up first is Stacia Ortega. She's originally from New England, and her favorite kind of restaurant is a diner. So when she's craving a taste of home, you'll find her at our first stop. This is Joe's Diner.
Joe's Diner is a from-scratch breakfast and lunch restaurant with caring personnel and the best coffee you've had. We're known for the pancakes, the biscuits. I make 9 kinds of jam. I get asked about the quality of our pancakes and why they're so good. I always think that a part of it is the fact I'm making it and I'm cleaning it and you're not. But it's a scratch-made product throughout the day. We use a local buttermilk out of Yuma. It has no carrageenan. It also has eggs and actual local flour. Our biscuits are special because we make them by hand regularly through the day, so freshness really counts on a biscuit. We serve about 80,000 people a year. We do 47,000 cups of coffee a year. I probably do 120 pounds of pancake mix a week. Jam is a pretty straightforward process. I make about 14 gallons a month. In my diner, the vibe is created by my servers. All of my servers are moms, and therefore there's an empathy that I can't duplicate. They remember you, they remember what you eat, they are welcoming. I work with my wife, Joan. We've been married for 26 years, we've been together a little longer than that, and at this point, we have a shorthand that we can talk. It is a teamwork that we are very good at and in sync with each other. At dinner, when you're a chef, you don't see anybody. For breakfast, I get to see the guests. I get an immediate return on how I'm doing. Are they enjoying it? Cooking is giving. And when you get to feel that come back because of their appreciation, it makes you want to work better.
Stacia, I'm from New England too, and I love diners. Big part of my childhood. How did you find Joe's Diner?
Well, living in the Central Corridor, looking for mom and pop, that New England experience of a different restaurant, and there was Joe's.
Joe's was there.
Joe's was there.
So what did you have when you were there?
I start with coffee, that Arbuckle coffee, which is fantastic. I always get a pancake, which is one of the best pancakes I've ever had in Phoenix. It's fluffy, it's flavorful. I don't know if it's cinnamon or orange juice in there, but it's so tasty.
That's so New England. My mom uses orange juice in her.
That's how we make it at home.
pancakes.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, the acidity, I guess.
Yes, and eggs Benedict. I love really good poached eggs when you slice into it and the yolk comes out. And what's great about Joe's poached eggs, they're fresh. There's a difference between getting a grocery store egg and getting a fresh egg.
And how do you tell that? I'm testing you here as a chef.
Well, my cousin has a farm and they raise chickens, so I can tell there's just a
They stand
different
up.
flavor.
I mean, they stand up it's like a pancake. They're like stacked, the yolk on top and then the white. It's really cool. Steve, what did you have when you were there?
I had the border omelet, which is something like a Denver omelet, but then they improve it greatly by adding green chilies and adding tomatoes, and they put little U.S. and Mexican flags on it to symbolize the fact it's border omelet. And that was served with potatoes. Now I'm celiac, so I'm concerned about gluten-free, and they didn't have any gluten-free bread, but the server was very good, offered a lot of options, and I had a really nice bowl of fruit. Really good fresh fruit.
That's cool.
That was served, and actually it was much better in the long run. And the omelet was light and it was 3 eggs and very well
Substantial.
prepared. Yeah, it was a
I had
substantial
the,
omelet,
like-
and the potatoes. I mean,
I had
it's
like
a,
the quadruple meat omelet. It was
yeah,
crazy.
it's a definitely a diner kind of breakfast. I lived in New England for many years too, but also I'm from northern New Jersey, and we kind of stylize ourselves as being the home of diners also.
I
So
heard from someone that you all might have invented the diner in New Jersey.
that's what we like to say anyway. But the servers were really good. I mean, they're not quite as surly as diner servers in the East, which is, I guess that's a good thing.
So, Brett, what did you have there?
I had the corned beef hash,
Yeah.
and what I liked about it was just the right amount of crispy.
Mhm.
It wasn't overdone, and it wasn't just mush.
Yeah.
Although when Joe came around, and he came around twice while we were there to all the tables,
Wow.
he actually said, I actually don't make that, but I like to cook it that way. I make everything else from scratch.
Yeah. Well, it takes time to do corned beef, so it's probably better to have a pro do that if you're going
Right.
to do a lot of volume. But I do like that when it's crispy, like he does it on the outside, and then kind of creamy
Right.
on the inside.
Exactly.
It's just something. My mouth's watering right now. How about you? Y'all?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this place was good. And there was one thing I wanted to have. The biscuits. Did you have it? Did you have the biscuits?
I had biscuits and chorizo gravy, which it didn't have as much chorizo as I thought. But when he came around the second time, he pointed out his homemade jams. And I said, why didn't you tell me this before? Because I would much rather have had the jam and a biscuit. To me, that would be the best, because the gravy, it was okay, but everything else was really good. And I'll bet those jams are great.
They were. I had them, and the other thing I love about Joe's is he uses real butter.
Yes.
I think, like that's
Yes,
super
on the
important.
pancake.
Yep. This is your place, Stacia. Tell us about the decor for those people that haven't been yet.
What's great about it, it's very diner. It's got the old posters, signs, advertising signs, and just the booths. Now, the many years I've been going there, they've had the table and used to be like kind of shellacked with business cards. It's very relaxed.
Very relaxed. Staff's really nice too.
I would agree. Again, there's another person who's knows diners well. A couple of things that really made me feel I was in diner. We were in an upholstered booth, and it was very roomy and very comfortable, and that brought back a lot of memories. It's not really a diner if it doesn't have a really big menu, and it did. It had a really big, extensive menu, and that really made me feel that this was an authentic diner.
Brett, what'd you think of the decor?
I thought the decor was very diner, but it wasn't the kind of kitschy where they're trying to be over the top. It was casual, just come in and feel comfortable. And that, to me, was one of the things that made the atmosphere good.
Yeah.
And again, Joe came around twice. He actually apologized for the slow service. A cook had not shown up for work, so he was kind of pulling double duty.
Wow.
But everybody was happy.
So Stacia, this is your place. We're ready for a pro tip or takeaway.
Parking is a little tight because they're so busy, but I have never not been able to find a parking space.
I would say for people who are concerned about gluten, make sure you talk with your server, because they will have alternatives for you that they're very happy to do.
Get the pancakes.
Get the pancakes, drop the mic. If you want to try Joe's Diner, it's located in the Melrose District on 7th Avenue, north of Campbell. An average meal costs $22, and they do not take reservations. And now to Brett's choice. He discovered his pick during Arizona Restaurant Week when he fell in love with their watermelon arugula salad. And now it's his go-to spot. This is Rusconi's American Kitchen.
I'm Michael Rusconi, and I'm the chef proprietor of Rusconi's American Kitchen. We're a fine dining contemporary American restaurant that focuses on sustainability. At Rusconi's, you can find seafood, salmon, scallops, different cuts of beef for grilled steaks, and we do a wonderful Sunday brunch. One of my #1 sellers, to my surprise, and it's been like this for a long time, is our pecan wood grilled blackberry glazed salmon. And the other one that is really popular is our beef tenderloin medallions with our truffle scented macaroni and cheese. We cook over a wood-fired grill. It's one of the cornerstones of our restaurant. We use pecan wood, which has great flavor. It works with a lot of different things. My cocktail program is ever evolving. I'm always trying to push the envelope to grow our cocktail program, yet it still has to be approachable for our clientele. We've been winning Wine Spectator Awards every time we apply. We have over 110 varietals on the menu right now. I was involved in the construction of the restaurant. It's supposed to be a very comfortable ambiance. You know, there's a lot of wood tones in here, some steel. It's a full exposure kitchen, so our guests can see just about everything we're doing, and they can see the care that goes into our food. And I really think that makes a big difference. Why do I know that? Because they tell me all the time. It's a warm, inviting atmosphere. My staff reflects that when you come in. I have great people that have been working with me for a very long time, and you see the fact that they enjoy working here every day. It's very rewarding.
So Brett, how did you find Risconi's?
Relatively recent transplants to the Valley. We moved here in 19, trying to find places to eat. And so we went out, and it was one of the first ones we tried. And again, that salad, what made it good was not just the watermelon arugula, but on the four corners of the plate, he had a little dab of goat cheese with a touch of balsamic vinegar.
Ooh, perfect.
Those extra touches. And every time we've gone back, one of the dishes, if not more of them, have a little extra touch that really sets it apart from going to many other restaurants.
Well, he's a great chef. I love him. So that's what brought you there. What did you have when you went this time?
They had a special of mussels, and I love mussels. So I had the mussels, and while only one of the other people that we went with, another couple, would try the mussels, I convinced them all to try the broth, and everybody wanted to take a jar of that broth home. It was outstanding. There was sausage in the broth too, which is not normal for mussels.
Gives it a little kick. Steve, what did you have to eat?
We had the Maple Leaf Farms duck breast. It had a strawberry shellac on the top. It was served with forbidden rice. It was medium rare.
Was the skin crispy?
Skin was very
That's
crispy.
important.
Skin was very crispy. That's important to me too.
Yeah,
And the
it's
skin was very crispy. It wasn't, again, really wasn't fatty. It felt very lean, and
That's great.
it
How
had a
about
lot
the
of fresh
forbidden
flavor.
rice? Sometimes that can be a little bit dry and chewy.
No, this was really good forbidden rice. It was sticky like it's supposed to
Oh,
be, and
good.
it had little bits of fruit in it. And
That's
yeah, it was really
interesting.
well prepared. And the duck breast was served right over the top of it, so the flavors all got to mix into the rice, which I think is really important
Yes.
too. My wife and I always share dishes. That way we can experience
She's
more.
very nice.
She is very nice, and she had the pork tenderloin, which was which had a blackberry glaze on it. I have to say, as much as I liked my duck breast, I think her pork tenderloin was even better.
It was the winner. Stacia, what did you have while you were there? No, you went for brunch.
I went
I
for
think.
brunch. Started off with the New Orleans beignets.
Mhm.
So I had eggs Benedict,
Mhm.
my go-to. Had a citrusy hollandaise sauce, had capers on top, and with a side of potatoes. Again, I'm a little bit of a Benedict person. When I go to breakfast, that's what I look for, and that's always who had the best one, what's the baseline. And so a little disappointed. Eggs did do what I wanted to do when I cracked open the yolk, but not much salmon. A little disappointing.
So for you, yeah.
It was
and
for
you were-
me.
but, you know,
I'm
I
a
didn't say
Benedict
that.
snob. It's
No.
true.
So let's talk about appetizers. Brett, what did you have for appetizers?
So I had a tomato burrata salad, and it was heirloom tomatoes. And his little touch for this was a scoop of basil sorbet on top that
Nice.
then started to melt into the tomatoes and the cheese, and it was wonderful. We were near the station where the chef was doing the final touches, and they were doing this French fries with truffle and Parmesan, and he was finishing them off with a torch. And we decided to try them, and boy, are we glad we tried them. They were gone first.
Steve.
My wife and I shared the pork belly. It was a glaze with a strawberry glaze. It was very crispy. It was not fatty at all.
So it wasn't spongy fatty?
No, no,
I
it was
love that.
actually on the crispy side, which we really liked. And it was actually very generous appetizer. Was plenty for the two of us.
Did you have any cocktails or anything while you were there?
I did. I
Okay,
had the
well,
Bloody
good.
Mary. I
Right.
was excited to try it. Our server told us, oh, we make our own mix, which can be really good. And so I had it. I did like, they had the little cornichon, little crouton, an olive, which I love, green olive on the top, and a lime. So no celery. I am anti-celery. And so, yeah. So
They knew you.
yes, they did.
Steve, what did you have?
I had the My How Excellent. It was a Mai Tai, but it also had egg white in it. So it reminded me of a pisco sour.
Oh,
And
okay.
and it was really wonderful. It was kind of I guess a combination of a rum drink with the Peruvian classic.
And a little
pisco
foam
sour.
on top.
Yes.
And Brett, what did you have to drink?
I'm a wine guy, so I
Okay.
had wine. My wife is a Manhattan drinker, and other than our one neighbor, Bruce, this is the best Manhattan she's found in the valley.
Oh, cool.
So, and she tries that almost every place we go.
And wine, you're a wine guy. How was the wine program? How was the wine list?
Wine list is very good. They've got a certain amount of California, but they've got a lot of South American and some Australian wines there that are reasonably priced. And I think that's one of the things about this restaurant is he really tries to keep the prices reasonable. They're not diner prices, but
Yeah, they're
for
reasonable.
what you
For
get,
what you
I
get,
think
I think
they're,
it is.
I think they're really good.
For sure. Did you have dessert?
We had so many appetizers that the four of us shared one dessert, and it was a lemon and thyme creme brulee.
Oh,
And it was very good. It was subtle lemon because it's so often you can get it where it'll just tart and get you.
Yeah.
And it was subtle, but it was done very well.
Perfect, Brett. I love it. Steve, what did you have?
I'm celiac, so I'm somewhat limited in my dessert choices, but they brought me a wonderful ice cream sampler, which was all house-made ice cream. And it was a combination of chocolate blueberry, vanilla bean, and root beer float.
Ooh.
And the ice cream was all really good. And it was quite a generous serving, and it was delicious.
Now we'll do the one word or one sentence pro tip takeaway. Brett, it's your place.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a wine guy. So if you can, go on Sunday nights, half-price bottles of wine.
Boom. That's a pro tip.
When I made the reservation online, they give you a space to add any comments. So I mentioned that I was gluten intolerant, and we got there. The hostess knew that I was gluten intolerant. The server came to our table with suggestions right up front, like we know you
cool.
can't eat this or that. Without a doubt, it was one of the most gluten-free friendly restaurants I've ever been to.
my pro tip would be if you make a reservation, ask to be sat in maybe a little further away from the kitchen.
Okay.
Or at the bar, and when it gets nice out, on the patio.
If you want to try Risconi's American Kitchen, they're located on the northeast corner of Tatum and Shea. An average meal will cost you $38, and they do take reservations. Our last pick is Steve's. His wife is Mexican-American, so making his choice was easy. A restaurant owned by a husband and wife team serving the Chihuahuan dishes they grew up with. This is Cocina Chihuas.
Cocina Chihuas started by my wife and I with our intention of basically bringing the cuisine of what we've learned here in Arizona and things that are available here in Arizona, combined with things from Chihuahua, Mexico, which is where we're from. This isn't food in the same way that I think people came to expect Mexican food, right? I think one of our biggest inspirations is to kind of create our own kind of category. Our menu kind of changes quite a bit, so anything you see today, you may not be able to get in a month. We have a wood fire oven, a wood fire grill. Both of them are used mostly for our proteins. We also make some quesadillas that are open format, and then we like to do a lot of our veggies, a lot of braising. So the cocktail program's in the same way that we think about food, kind of showing or showcasing what Mexican drinks are. I think a lot of people know what tequila is. They're starting to become more familiar with what mezcal is, but there's so many things more. And I think that's part of what we're trying to do is we try to showcase the different regionalities in drinks as well. From a vibes perspective, we want it to be comfortable setting for family in a higher scale, meaning, we do full service here. We're located in a community called Cul-de-sac, which is the first carless community of its kind here in the United States and Arizona in particular. We're close to light rail. A lot of the things that we're trying to format is to kind of build a restaurant that's formulated for community. The guest experience has always been like you're coming to my house. That's always the goal. The goal is I want you to feel comfortable. When there's food involved, I think we're all a little bit happier regardless. So, food and drinks together, you're having a good time.
So Steve, how did you find Cocina Chihuas?
The proprietors of Cocina Chihuas also have Tacos Chihuas downtown.
Yes.
And we were very, very fond of that place. Been there many times and really enjoyed it. So when I heard they were opening up a place right in Tempe where we live, it was just a thrill.
So what did you have for an appetizer?
For an appetizer, we had the Chile Colorado bean dip, which is really wonderful. It's a bean dip with a kick. It has a little bit of the Chile Colorado in it. It's served with homemade corn chips, really tortilla chips, really well produced. A very, very generous serving. It has a little bit of cotija cheese on top, and it's certainly enough for 2 or even 3 people.
Stacia, what did you have for an appetizer?
We had the elote con crema, and oh my God, it was so good. So
I love
good.
elote.
Just it was just the cream, the little bit of spice reminded me of getting it from the vendor on the street, the corn, the spicy corn and all that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was delicious. We
Right.
also
So-
split the grilled Caesar salad.
Oh, yes.
So that was delicious, and it was the long romaine, and actually to have that sear on there really just
Smoky char.
smoky char
I love
enhanced
it.
the flavor of the Caesar
It's
as
the best
well.
way to have Caesar. So, Brett, what did you start with?
We started with street corn like Stacia had, but we also had a short rib quesadilla, which came out, it was actually much more like a wood-fired Italian pizza,
Nice.
except it was wood-fired Mexican quesadilla that was different and outstanding
That
because
is
it's not
It's
what you
delicious.
expect. It's good.
That's awesome. Oh, what did you have for an entree?
I had the chicharron, the pork belly. and
Chicharrón.
It's served on poblano rice
Mhm.
and with sliced radish. And again, it's cooked perfectly. It's crispy. It's not overly fatty, but it's not
Is there
dry.
a little spice?
There's a little bit of
heat?
spice on it. Yeah, a little
Cool,
bit of
cool.
heat. Well prepared, so it's neither too fatty or too dry.
So
And-
perfect.
And again, it's very typical of this restaurant. The servings are enormous, and I couldn't eat it all. I had to take some home, which
Had to.
it
Did you
makes
hear
an-
that?
Yeah, had
he
to.
emphasized had to. I'm
and
not
it makes
sure of
it
that.
makes an amazing breakfast the next morning.
Oh
I can
yeah,
tell
put
you.
it up in some eggs. I'm loving it.
Yes.
Stacia, what'd you have for an entree?
I had the pollo and mole,
Oh yeah.
and so mole is my go-to. And it was interesting, came on a wonderful bed of polenta, which is some of the best seasoned polenta I've ever had. It was so creamy, and I was like, oh, can you give me more?
Give me a bucket of that, please.
Yeah.
Brett, you're agreeing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My
I
wife
forgot
had the
about that.
pollo mole too, and she gave it 2 thumbs up.
So
Yeah,
what
it's
kind of
deli-
mole? I mean, so there are hundreds of mole. So how
Right.
was
So it was actually the mole was what the chicken was kind of
Marinated.
based- Instead of rubbing
marinated
it.
in. Yeah,
Yep.
so there was no extra mole
Exactly.
sauce, which I was like, oh, but the chicken was so good. The flavor really
soaked in and
soaked it into the chicken itself. So I cleaned all that up.
You did?
Yeah.
So Brett, you ate the way I like to eat most, which is family style. So what were the highlights from your meal?
So we had pollo con mole, we had Iberico pork, and we also had pulpo, octopus, and then finally we had an order of tacos, which since there were 4 of us, the normal order is 3, and they popped an extra one in so we
Oh,
could all
that's
taste
cool.
it.
Well, tell me a little bit about the Iberico pork.
It was almost like a ribeye steak of pork, bone in, that was cooked and then sliced. And I think it also came on a polenta. Other thing that stood out is they brought some tortillas, and I don't know if it was for the Iberico or for the pollo, but these small corn tortillas that were
Corn.
the best I have ever had.
Awesome.
Definitely got
They
good
were
corn.
really
They're
good.
they're very much like the kind my wife makes, and
Yeah.
they're really wonderful.
So when are we getting invited
Yeah.
over?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're all gonna be knocking at your
Yeah.
doors. All right. Well, Steve, what'd you have for cocktails?
I had the chihuarita, and that's a margarita, but it is made with sotol instead
Yes.
of tequila. So sotol is a Chihuahuan native liqueur that's made from the sotol plant, which is also called desert spoon. It's related to the agave, but it's not quite the same
Mhm.
as what goes into mezcal or tequila. The chihuarita is really spectacular.
Brett, what'd you have for drinks?
I also had a chihuarita, but our server bragged about the fact that they make their own juices. So I added blood orange to my chihuarita, and it was great. And my friend had a Paloma, and he said it was the best he's ever had.
That's
Oh.
amazing. You have a something.
I have a little something. I had the white sangria,
Okay.
which was delicious, had a little sprig of rosemary in it. And
That
it
is
just was
interesting.
really flavorful, just light enough because I was just really prepping for dinner. And
All right.
yeah,
Desserts? Did you have one?
we did not. We were too full.
I had a mango sorbet with tahini sauce over the top.
Ooh.
So
that is
it was a
interesting.
combination of flavors that maybe it wouldn't have occurred to me, but it was a homemade sorbet. It was really fresh and fruity and really a wonderful, sweet, cool taste. And then you get the chile from the tahini over the top.
That is
and
great.
it really, the combination was perfect. My wife had a French toast ice cream sandwich,
Ooh.
which was really remarkable. Of course, I couldn't try that being celiac, but she enjoyed it very much.
We also had the French toast ice cream sandwich. We shared that because we just had so much other stuff, but it was very good. And again, it's different. It's
That's
not what you expect, but it's good.
So this is time for pro tips. Steve, your place.
Again, they're very gluten-free friendly. So if you're celiac or you have other food intolerances, make sure you let your server know. They're immediately, pretty much they can cook almost anything on the menu gluten-free.
I would say make reservations. It didn't seem, people weren't waiting, but I would just make reservations just in case, because parking can be a little tight.
I would take the advice of our server, Maria. Do it family style. You're going to get so many more tastes and bites, and you're going to want to come back again.
Brett, it's the only way to eat family style. That's a great pro tip. If you want to try Cocina Chihuas, it's located in Tempe on Apache Boulevard, just east of McClintock in the cul-de-sac apartment complex. An average meal will cost $40, and they do take reservations. I want to thank Stacia, Steve, and Brett for joining me at the table. And thank you for joining us for Check Please Arizona. If you'd like to share your favorite restaurant, head to our website, azpbs.org/checkplease, and nominate your must-eat-at spot. Who knows, you could be joining me at the table. And be a part of the foodie conversation in Arizona on Facebook and Instagram using the hashtag CheckPleaseAZ. Join us next time when 3 new guests make their recommendations right here on Check Please Arizona. I'm Chef Mark Tarbell. Have a delicious life.
Check Please Arizona is supported by